Again, this is a pretty good, I guess you can say, metaphor for this. Now, when you throw that football, you want it to spiral, right? Yeah. That spiral makes the football go further, faster, and it gets it where you want it to go. Same thing with rifling. However, in the 18th century, this musket here is not rifled. This is what we call a smooth-bore flintlock musket, which means the inside of the barrel is just as smooth as the outside. Now what I'm going to do is pass these pieces of barrel around, let you guys check them out. It's a little chilly. So you know what we use to start fires over there? What, steel? That works too. That's fine. That's fine. Flint and steel. What we have two main pieces of our lock here. We have the cos and we also have the hammer. When I pull this trigger, this piece of flint is going to strike this steel, and what should you see? Sparks. Do me a favor, watch right on here. Not bad. You saw a little something orange. Now what we want those sparks to do is drop into this pan where we have some powder. There's a tiny hole in the side of the barrel that it's going to burn through. And it's going to burn the main charge in your barrel, and it's going to go off. It's going to be a big chain reaction. There's a problem, guys. It might not always go boom. You have a 1 in 6 chance for misfire. Which means every 1 time out of 6 times you pull this trigger, nothing's going to happen. How does that sound? He's going to fire. Come on, you're soldiers. You should be able to handle that better. The swords. Begins with the B, ends with the bayonet. There you go. This is your bayonet. May not look that scary. It's not a blade bayonet. It's not sharp on any of these edges. But what can you do with it? Scare people. What else can you do with it?
Poke someone's eye out.
Poke somebody's eye out, exactly. You can stab them with it. And are you guys afraid of being stabbed?
Yeah.
Exactly. So you got it. You're going to be afraid of this. Now, in the 18th century, you don't exactly have much confidence in your surgeon. For you folks who just came from the surgeon, not much confidence, right? Not much you can do about a bayonet. When you get stabbed by one of these, they're going to be fatal because we're aiming for your torso. So that area at the bottom of your throat all the way to the bottom of your gut. You have a lot of very important things right here. So again, it's going at a quick march for the fastest pace, and that way everybody can keep up. And again, power in numbers, because you are going towards the enemy with a wall of steel bayonet. The thing is, when you guys talked about recruitment, did you guys talk about requirements for joining the Army?
We did.
How about height requirements? Did y'all talk about that? Do you remember? You have to be at least 5'4" to join the Army. That's because of this musket. What you do is half-cock firelock. I'm going to pull this back to its safety position. If you guys have ever heard the idea, don't go out half-cock, that's where this came from. I should be able to pull the trigger all I want and nothing will happen. Next thing I'm going to do is handle cartridge, slap that cartridge box in below, not drop, a bunch of these pre-made paper cartridges. Now this one's had gunpowder and a musket ball at the bottom. I'm not firing an actual musket ball. They ricochet off trees and I don't want them to come back and hit you guys. So just gunpowder today. But the soldier's hands are full and this is sealed, so how does he open it? With his teeth, exactly. So you're going to bite and spit, and when you taste gunpowder, that's how you know you've gotten close enough. And you will taste it. It tastes absolutely terrible. I hope you guys never have to experience that. Next thing you do is prime, pour some of the powder in that pan, creating that fuse. Shut your pan and then cast your weapon about so you can charge with cartridge. Basically, you're just going to dump everything else done in there. Now here's where the 5'4" part comes in, guys. To make sure it gets down in there, I have this rammer. Now to get it down in there, you withdraw your rammer, ram down cartridge, and then return it because it doesn't do you any good sitting in the barrel. Now that time I was lucky, I didn't have to get on my toes, but sometimes I have to handle that. Next thing you do is shoulder firelock. Commanding officer looks down line, everybody has their weapon shouldered. What does that tell him? You're ready to go. With that, I have 3 more commands. Make ready, take aim, and fire. So if at this time you want to cover your ears, now's the time to do it. Make ready, take aim, fire. Then I'm going to say prime and
listen to a tape recording of what happened on that same day. Here we go.
The British Army came with flags, case, and bands playing a melancholy tune. The world turned upside orderly. Some men bit their lips. Some have been drinking. Some wore hats over their eyes to conceal their faces. For more than a mile, the column wound along the sandy road, moving between the files of their waiting conquerors. The Americans on the right and the French on the left.
Hi, I'm Mason Jefferson, and I'm running for President of the United States when I turn 40.
I'm gonna beat him.
And vote for me in 40 years.
Vote for me. He said vote for Patrick.
No, don't vote for Patrick Bush. Vote for Mason Jefferson.
You're not related to anybody famous.
Yeah, related to Ulysses Grant.
Have you ever heard of George? He's related to him.
I'm related to Ulysses Grant.
Yeah, my dad's the president, okay?
So, his dad is
Vote for me or I will sue you.
Who lives in
That's the way.
Who works in our citizens.
Court. This is actually the Supreme Court for the colony of Virginia. And if you were a free person and you're on trial for a felony, this is where you would come to. Slaves are tried in their local courts or husband's courts. Slaves would never be in here. Now, directly behind me in that large chair would sit the royal governor. Nobody's above or below anybody, you can stand. You can see the governor's council room where that red chair, that's where the governor sat. That's an original, by the way. That's where Lord Dunmore sat, Lord Bottytop. But here, we're all here. Now, here's how it starts. In the morning, before the business of government begins, we're led in prayer by a chaplain. This idea of having a chaplain stems from this time period. Of course, how many keys do you have? For a second, imagine that door being closed. There was a young man, he was too young to vote, but he used to come up to this building and look through the keyhole. That young man was Thomas Jefferson. You might even have heard Patrick Henry deliver his famous Caesar Brutus speech from this space. Jefferson was never a great speaker, but he was an outstanding student, and he wasn't a Virginia makes father. We really consider ourselves the fifth part.
This is an original building. Okay? Now, when we use the term original, it can mean just a small portion of it dates from the 18th century. For this, 2 of the jail cells are daytime, though you do not get benefit of clergy. It's one time only there. So certainly there's going to be... Lock them in there.
These are the 2 original cells. These are the real ones.
How does it smell?
It's hot in here.
Blackbeard. I don't know. It looks like one.
Dead body, dead body. Get out, one of my turn. It's scary. Excuse me, I gotta go to the bathroom.